All right. It is a sad day in Cincinnati. we got we got embarrassed the last two nights, but that's okay. It's how you learn. That's how you improve. That's how you get better and come back next year. Um, but the baseball in Cincinnati was ugly last night. Dave, how are you doing?
I'm great. Sorry for your Reds getting bounced out in a 2 out of 3 in a 3 game series.
Yeah, it is what it is. But all right, we got a cool lineup. Let's tease a couple things. We're going to talk about a virtual friend, which I've seen this popping up a lot. We're going to talk about people that are so desperate for experiences that they will pay to go to a stranger's wedding. Um, but let's start with a little current event. I was talking to Jimmy before we went live. So what is it? Today is October 2nd. September 30th was officially the last day telehealth services was covered by Medicare. The extension for coverage expired. Congress, I think, voted yes, but Senate never got it done. And so the extended coverage for telehealth, when delivered by a PTOT SLP, but that's a little separate, in private practice, is no longer a covered benefit. So what that means today, right now, October 2nd, it doesn't mean you have to stop. That doesn't mean you can't do it. What that means is that now you get the chance to see how valuable those telehealth services are because you issue advance beneficiary notice. You give your client the opportunity to pay out of pocket for something that they've been receiving. And I think this is where we see the rubber meet the road. This is where we see what's available. Of course, there's going to be people who legitimately cannot afford your time, your services, but there's a lot of people who could. Now they get to decide if what you're doing is really worth the time and money they've been investing. Do you have any questions about that? I know this is outside of your area, but this is a big topic, especially a lot of speech language pathologists are doing tons of virtual and telehealth. OTs are doing a ton of virtual and telehealth, and they're doing amazing with it.
My thoughts and comments on it is that I hope I hope the therapists are ready to present whatever the phone call, email, text verbiage is to these patients about that it's no longer covered. But good news is that we can continue, and it would be at a rate of whatever they're going to charge out of pocket for per visit or a package or whatever. Um, and I want to push back. We said it before briefly. We can go quickly, but of course, there's certain people that can't just truly can't afford it, like Medicare telehealth visits out of pocket. Like there's some, of course, in every city, every zip code, everywhere. But most people can. Most people are getting Amazon packages delivered, Walmart packages delivered. People are spenders. Most people are in, whether it's credit card debt or whatever, it's because they are spenders. Why not invest in yourself? Why not invest more in your health and wellness? If it's no longer covered, it's no longer covered. And if a practice wants to charge $100 or whatever per visit for telehealth, the onus is on you now, the Medicare beneficiary, to continue to pay out of pocket if you want to, if you find value in it. I would love to hear some feedback in the coming weeks or months from other therapists, especially that follow Tony and follow Learn Medicare Billing or have gone through your course. In terms of like if they had, I don't know, 25 or 50 patients doing telehealth at the time, and how many continue at a
Right.
self-pay rate. I would be. I hope it's 100. I wish it were 100% across every therapist because what we do is great and valuable. Um, but most people are spenders. I mean, everywhere you look, there's Amazon trucks everywhere. There's unmarked Amazon trucks everywhere. Um, People spend on what they want to buy. We talked about the difference between needs and wants before. Um, I I don't know if it's going to be dark times. I don't know if it's going to be a challenging time for these therapists. I wish them the best with continuing to treat their patients and clients and making the money that they, I don't want to say deserve, but that they are uh, able to earn based off of the value that they're presenting and conveying and all that. So not sure if Jimmy has any thoughts on that.
Yeah, I was actually just thinking, like, what are the things that we don't want delivered, like we resist? Like, I would think like physical therapy at first would be a super hard sell, right? Interaction, like I've done like telehealth visits with my dad's primary care physician. I've never done one for myself, but I would. Like, if I needed a prescription and I kind of knew what it was and it could be ruled in or ruled out, and that prescription could be sent in and I didn't need to wait in line. So I was actually like doing like a thought experiment where I was like, what are things that we prefer in person and we wouldn't want delivered? Because as Dave just said, simplicity, one click purchase. We want everything. So why is it such a hard sell for PT? And I think it's the expectation of what it is and what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be here. It's supposed to be in the room. It's supposed to be together. So I think that's why.
But also the historical expectation of someone else is paying for it. Maybe I think that's part of it.
Well, I've already paid for it, right? Is that there's a difference there? Someone else is paying.
I'm entitled to it because I've paid for it.
I've paid for. I mean, I remember that I was probably my first year of PT school before someone actually gave the sentence like, "Well, I pay for health insurance in my job." Like, I pay for healthcare in my job. We pay for health insurance. Healthcare is different. I was like, oh yeah, that is different. I guess you're right, but no one had framed it that way.
My response, I don't say this to patients, but my response would be, and Medicare and in-network insurances are technically paying us if we chose to participate with them, but they're not paying us enough. They don't pay us enough to cover our cost to deliver what we want to deliver. And so that's the disconnect.
Right. Which is, you signed a deal in the room with that insurance company. I wasn't in that room, so I couldn't advocate for myself. This is where I have to advocate for myself of that's not what I get paid. You can pay the difference.
So Bo's here. Bo, welcome. Good morning. Dave said something interesting. He said, you don't pay us enough, true, for what we want to deliver. That's like me going into a restaurant and me, wanting to pay the chef $20 and he wants to deliver $100 worth of steak. Well, I don't want $100. I want $20. Medicare makes it very clear. Medicare makes it very clear. Medicare is not paying for what you, Dave, want to deliver. Medicare is not paying for Dave's expertise. Medicare is not paying for any of the stuff. Medicare is paying for the standard of care. And when you look at that, you have to assume it's a new grad on day number 1, never treated a patient, has a license and nothing more. That is what Medicare is buying. That is what Medicare is paying for. And basically, it is paying for the minimum threshold of acceptable service. That could be 3 sets of 10, glute squeeze, quad sets, and long arc quad. Like it'll probably do something for the patient. That's what Medicare is paying for.
Now, if I'm the chef in this example, I'm not forcing a $40, $50 steak down someone's throat who wants to pay 20. We've talked about this before, Tony. Like some days you go to McDonald's. Sometimes you want to take your wife out for an anniversary dinner, birthday dinner, whatever. You go to the expensive steakhouse. The McDonald's is offering something in the marketplace. The steakhouse is offering something. I'm just more of the steakhouse. I'm just like, hey, this is what we have to offer. I'm not pushing it down your throat. I'm not saying Jimmy's got to take his dad to us or we come to Jimmy's dad. I'm just saying, hey, this is what we offer. This is what we charge. And because of those dynamics around what we charge and how much we pay our therapists and all that, that's why we charge what we charge. And that's why we can't accept those other payers. That's why we can't accept Medicare Part B. That's why we don't accept any in-network. That's why I can pay my therapist $100 a visit, $150 a visit, and Luna's paying $70 a visit. So like, I'm just offering something into the marketplace the way that the steakhouse is and the way that the McDonald's is down the street.
So now let's talk about the good parts of telehealth no longer being a covered service, whether it's temporary or permanent. What does that mean? What does that do? How does that open up the doors for us? Well, if it's not a covered service, we're not subject to the Medicare allowed amount. We can charge anything we want to charge. You can charge your full fee. That allows us now to have more capacity in the system to do things that we couldn't afford to do before. If I'm limited to $98 for a 60-minute, 4-unit telehealth session, Maybe I can't afford to bring in amenities. Maybe I can't afford to bring in other services, to pay for other softwares, to do other things that now if I go to 250 a session or more, I can provide additional services. I can provide, I've shared the site, My Body Tutor, where they do like paid calls for accountability. I can touch, make contact with you in the morning. I can be your wake up call. Hey, Jimmy, it's, 6 a.m. Let's get up. Let's get moving. Let's talk about the plan for the day. What are you going to eat? What are you going to do? How are you going to manage this problem you've been dealing with? Those are things that Medicare never covered, and we couldn't afford to deliver when you were living in that world. Now you don't have to do that. There are so many things you can add to improve the experience. Goes back to why somebody buys a BMW instead of a Volkswagen. Why do you pay more for better things? Because you get more in the process.
Right on.
All right. I shared a post, and I don't know if Jimmy has it. It doesn't matter if you don't.
Where did you share it? I was actually just looking for it.
I put it on my Facebook profile. I tagged you guys on it. There are a couple channels. Dr. Bo says, have you guys talked about the NeuFit and or Shockwave? Yeah, we talked about it last time, but I'll bring it up again just while Jimmy's grabbing that link. I basically said, look, they're awesome companies. They're great products. I don't have a single negative thing to say about them in any way. The problem for me, and Bo, you might relate to this, at least understand it, it takes us away from other things. And we don't have a one-on-one business model. We never have. We don't want to go one-on-one. And so if I take my PTA away from the clinics, like the community in the clinic, because he's doing a shockwave treatment on an individual, especially if it's somebody that's paying a premium price and they want a premium experience, that kills the rest of my business. I don't want to be committed to it. He doesn't want to be committed to it. We just got to the point where that's not the service we want. I don't do neuro. I don't do amputee rehab. I don't do pediatrics. Why don't I do those things? Not because they're not good, but because that's not what we want to do. And we found that bringing in the modalities, it took us out of our core business, our core culture, and that's not what we want to do. And I think both of us, we'd be willing to sacrifice on the income side because that's not what we want to do. And we're not at a place in our life where we have to do things we don't want to do. So even though we could have made more money, it's not within the culture of the business we've built. So we sent them back. We said, hey guys, this was amazing. Thank you so much. We love the product. We love the team. Customer support. I keep sharing the videos of the content I created, but it's not in the culture of my company the way I want it to be. Jimmy?
I don't understand this. I don't understand it. And I understand, I don't know, outside the box. So you shared.
I think you do. I think you understand it. Both of you guys, like, look at this. It's an event. It's a show. Like weddings today, especially, they've become so extravagant, over the top, that it's like, all right, what's the difference between me paying for a dinner in theater at the local whatever place, or going to something like this? So the idea behind this business, real quick, people are selling access to their weddings to strangers. Stranger buys a ticket, probably two, you and a guest or something like that, and you go attend the wedding. This is a way they use to fund elements of the wedding. It gives the stranger a chance to experience the wedding. Now, at first, I thought it was like, well, maybe cultural differences. We went to a wedding that was like a traditional Nepalese wedding. It was totally different than anything I had ever been to. So I can see the appeal. I'll talk about how it applies to what we do. But Dave, were you going to say something?
100% in Jimmy's boat. I saw this and I commented on this post. I don't know if you saw the comment, but I don't understand who would pay to go to a stranger's wedding. This is basically Wedding Crashers, except now the crasher, the Wedding Crasher is paying, so it is there formally and appropriately. I mean, it would be cool if it's a unique exotic wedding. Yes. If it was in some, cool destination or something, maybe. But what percentage of weddings are like that in that video? I think 1%, maybe 5 or 10% max. I mean, there's so many lower budget weddings that are like at no, like just respectfully that are at like regular like halls or whatever. Like who wants to pay to attend that? Like, come on. Like, and I'm saying like even the Northeast or other states where I've been to weddings with friends and colleagues and whatnot. Like, I mean, the wedding in that video is, yes, that's what maybe I would pay for to go to a wedding and you don't know what's going to happen. It's kind of like a Mr. Beast thing. Like there could be surprises, or there could be like, like Savannah Bananas and Banana Ball, like a celebrity shows up and, with Banana Ball, and there's like a celebrity like ex player Hall of Famer that comes up all of a sudden to go pinch hit or throw an inning or whatever. But let's be honest, like the majority, I mean, I think 80, 90, maybe 95% of the weddings that I've seen on Facebook of friends and colleagues and where I've been to are not worth a ticket admission. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Jimmy?
This would be a hard sell. Yeah, I mean, the whole wedding crash angle. I've never have I ever crashed a wedding? I've crashed a wedding for about a half hour or an hour. I've been at like a place with like 3 venues and been like dressed up for one of them, and I've just been like, let's go get a drink or something. And that was cool. You feel like James Bond for all of 12 minutes, and then someone's aunt recognizes you and you got to leave. Yeah, I get this. This drips of entitlement to me, which is like, let you pay for my thing. I get the idea, which is like, this is going to be really cool to me and my friends. Let me see if I can get someone else to pay for it. It would have to be something ridiculous and over the top, but they're selling access to a thing that they're already putting on. I'm 45. And when I see an invitation for a wedding, I'm like, damn it. How am I getting out of this? Like, I'm sort of done with it. So like, this isn't for me, but I'm not the target for this. This might be for 25-year-olds who like going to weddings. I don't know.
So let's think about some of this. Okay, Dave said who would do this. I would say who would send a text message to a stranger to pick you up in their car from the bar at 2 a.m. Right? Who would rent a spare bedroom?
No, you can't. No, you're not gonna make the connection to Uber and Lyft.
The best idea started with people saying this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. 2, I mean, I remember back in a younger life, man, I loved weddings. I loved weddings because there was tons of booze and you could pick up girls and you were partying and dancing and having a great time. Even as an older adult, I don't mind watching people and hanging out and like the vibe. And so like Jimmy said, I mean, Jimmy is the king of party planning. Party with a purpose. Like, I can't believe you are not.
And even Jimmy's in my camp. So exactly.
So here's the thing. Hold on. So Tony just touched on a way that this might get cool. If we combined this with a little bit of Tinder or Bumble, which is like, I've got 5 spots. Look at the 9 single girlfriends I've got. Would you like to apply for this? Because originally I was looking at this like, who wants to bring their date to a wedding? Who wants to bring their girlfriend to a wedding? Because I guess that's where my mind went. Now, if it's like, we're doing this cool thing, it's in a cool place, or it's in your neighborhood. Do you want to come to this party? Here's what it's going to look like. There's a chance, because who would call a neighbor for a ride at 2 a.m. from a bar? Well, I have a ride problem and you have an $11 problem. So let's exchange this. So do you have a meet, exciting girls at a party problem? I have a party with exciting girls. You're in the market to have that problem solved. And I have a couple extra seats because the venue made me, there's a food and drink minimum or something like that. Maybe you have a thing like this. Also is like similar to like hiking and run clubs. It's the same thing. It's like, well, you can hike and go anywhere, but like doing it with a group is like better. Okay. Like cool. Doing it with a group of other 25-year-olds. Like now we're going for 2 reasons. We're going for the hike and we're going for the other reason of social interaction or why we get together. So is there something to this? Yeah, I think
No. No.
Hold on. It's never like this. The first ideas of Airbnb are always like kind of like this. And then when you see the idea that's finalized later, you're like, oh, that was a weird stick figure version of the final product. But I was just watching a story about somebody who has dinner parties every Thursday. It's like a famous person, and they like curate the guest list where like, and they never invite the same person twice. So their whole thing is, I want to expand my network. I'm never going to invite the same person twice, but I'm going to put an experience because they love to cook. But really, it's not just about the food. It's like, what 7 people can I put in the room that they'll have a crazy experience doing? And now people like, they don't sell this, but people like vie to be in this room. It's like dinner for schmucks in reverse. It's like dinner for not schmucks. It's dinner for actual anti-schmucks. And I want to be in the room.
But the one angle you guys were kind of hinting at was like, if it's groups of like 2 single guys, 2 single girls, and they're going to go double date, or 5 single guys and 5 single girls, and they're going to go double date, or triple, whatever, quadruple date. That, as like going to someone else's wedding on the first like meeting and date, isn't that awkward? Wouldn't that be awkward? Like there's like so many other places like bowling alley, movie theater. Like,
no,
why would the wedding? That's so awkward. Why would the wedding be the first time you're meeting either a friend, a colleague?
I can't believe I'm actually advocating for this. Slightly.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Less awkward because giving a PowerPoint presentation to 6 people is awkward. Giving it to 60 is less awkward. Why? Because there's enough vibe in the room that I can disappear when I'm done. I feel like if you're doing it where it's like 2 on 2, you're on stage and it's awkward. Like every little word is heard. But you're in the middle. This is why people go to bars, because you sort of like want to get lost in it. So this is like a big giant setup. And talking about like bringing in 5 people, 5 males, 5 females, whatever you're talking about. I think people would be into that, especially 25-year-olds. Here's why I know that. That just described like 11 different dating shows on TV that people spend weeks watching. Like Love Island. I'm just naming shows. I've never actually watched these, but like The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, Golden Bachelor, which is a thing now. Love Island. There's all these things.
Yeah, that Golden Bachelor is just, it's nasty. It freaks me out. Maybe because I'm in that demographic now, but the way those people act, I've been seeing a bunch of those ads. Okay, let's take this. Let's bring it into, what does this mean? How can we transform this? A couple weeks ago, I talked about, look, why aren't we taking Tupperware parties and turning them into, dry needling and Botox parties? Why aren't we bringing that into the mobile therapy world? Why don't we coordinate this? This is basically the same thing. It's a paid party that you come to attend, drinks, food. You've got a curated community of people around you. I could also see something like this going the lines of, okay, I have a patient coming who has back pain. How many other people out there with back pain who maybe don't want to do therapy, but would love to tag along and would love to hear what the therapist says to the patient with back pain, and would love to maybe even get a chance to ask a couple questions while the therapist is treating the patient. The bystander can come in and ask a couple questions. I could see a world in which somebody pays for that kind of access, whether it be on virtual through a computer, but live, or it be an actual human. Like, hey, on Thursday at 9 p.m., I'm going to do some shoulder pain, non-surgical shoulder pain evaluation. Anybody who has shoulder pain, who doesn't want to do therapy, but you want to come in, you want to ask questions, you want to see and hear what I tell this person, because if this person has this collection of symptoms that match your collection of symptoms, it's no real difference. Like, you're going to get the general gist of what needs to be done. And if you're a little bit different, you can ask those questions if you pay for, attendance. Like, these are events that are happening no matter what. We can expand access in different ways to allow people who want different levels of service. Maybe they don't want the hands-on, or don't need the hands-on, or can't afford the hands-on, but they still want to be able to see, like, man, what did he say? What did the therapist tell you? What is going on?
I feel like it's a lower barrier. It's like, I'll watch. I don't have to interact.
Yeah,
I don't have to be on
less
stage, so
threatening.
let me lurk. But then if you're there long enough, you warm up and maybe you do raise your hand, or maybe you do sort of be like, well, I'm sort of like that, but mine does this. Would that be the same? So it's a Tupperware vibe. Yeah, it's a Tupperware vibe.
I love it. I think there's opportunities here.
In terms of a segue of companies raising money and having wacky ideas, I sent you guys something just a few minutes before the show.
Yeah.
Have you heard about friend.com?
No, I saw that. What is this now?
Okay. Grab your seats and get ready for this wackiness. Okay. Friend.com. First of all, it's website, friend.com. They paid like $1.5 million or something just for friend.com, just for the domain name. They raised 2 million or something dollars. And recently, in the recent weeks, they plastered the New York City subway, inside the train cars, all the banners in all the stations with different advertisements. And there's a pendant that you wear. I'm not sure how the hardware, like a necklace pendant, loops into the website, but you go to friend.com and it's basically like ChatGPT. You go to friend.com and it's like, hey, I'm your new friend. What's up? And it's like, are you serious? And you type and you could, I just was so sarcastic to it. And it was just so ridiculous. It's almost, I don't know. It's dystopian in a way. It's hilarious in a way. It's, I think, a little sad in a way. Their ads are getting defaced all over the internet by New Yorkers that are saying, AI is not your friend, and they're crossing out friend.com, and they're spray painting and they're using markers and defacing all the advertisements. They're writing things like, go volunteer at a community garden. You will meet cool people. Humans better than fake AI conversation. You don't need AI. We need each other. But I went to the website and I started just this morning typing and chatting with this AI. The AI is claiming to be my friend, which is just so ridiculous. But it's the same type of thing you could do with ChatGPT. You could just type in ChatGPT, like, hey, what's going on? And yeah, it might be a little more corporate, like straightforward, of giving you some response, like a Google, response to your prompt, as opposed to this, friend thing. But I don't know how you got, I don't know how we can riff on it, because I don't think it can relate to healthcare or physical therapy too much, but it is something that's in the news. It is something that is even more wacky than paying to go to a stranger's wedding. You guys are speechless unless we have a Wi-Fi freeze.
Tony has been frozen. Here's the thing. I was taught, if it's on the news, it means it is rare. And I've seen a report on the news, and I've seen a report on The Daily Show, which is not news, but it is funny sometimes, about people having AI girlfriends. And I don't know how ridiculous this is, or is it a sign that this will be something in the future?
Sad.
I also, this is how cynical I am. I hear about the advertisements for Friend AI being defaced, and then I'm so cynical, I go to them going, are they doing it?
To get more press? That would be really smart. That would be that would be like checkmate kind of move.
Like,
that would be very smart.
So great. People hate us. Like, no one can. The worst thing is to be ignored. Like, loved is obviously what you'd love to be. That takes time. Hated means there's something there to push against.
Repeat that, just because Tony was just logging back in. Repeat it, because I think that might be the insight of the day, if there is one. Yeah. That is the company defacing their own ads to get even more press, which actually maybe helps get them a return on the $1 million that they spent in this printed advertisement campaign just in the New York City subway.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be the first time for sure. Yeah, like that's talking about this though, Jimmy has shared, I think you mentioned this publicly, and I've had family that were working with, what do they call it, memory care. I mean, I'm shocked that Dave doesn't see the tie-in for this, for what we do. Like, imagine my grandma, my mom, whoever it is, with a pendant. We can't be on 24/7, but to have a pendant and an AI.
We need a little AI to finish Tony's sentences because he keeps freezing. We can extrapolate or guess where he's going there, which is like, wouldn't this be good to amplify or continue someone maybe for memory care just to make sure that there's either eyes on them or something to interact with? Yeah, I mean, gosh.
Now I'm being turned a little bit because I know about your father and his situation. So like, if there was something like I can't believe because I was already against this, but like, what's the other thing that the lanyard for like if someone falls, what's the name of the company?
Oh,
It's been around.
medic alert
Yeah,
button,
like one of
life alert.
the but life alert. Yeah, exactly. So if you can actually, so this is almost like the new technological advancement on that. The life alert is more like you press that because you can't reach the phone and you want an ambulance to come, right? So like that's like a really important like so you're not laying on the ground for multiple days, right? So that serves like a great purpose. But Tony was just kind of swaying me maybe in like your father's situation. How could that help you? Like how would that help you? You could, be checking in on your father. You could kind of see how he maybe some sentiment, like how he's feeling. Is he
Yeah.
cheery? Is he sad? Is he sleepy? Is he awake? Is he or is he asleep? Like those
Yeah.
types of things you can
Yeah.
kind of have a pulse on.
Yeah. I mean, so the place where my dad lives, they have the life alert things. They have a watch or the pendant, either one. And my dad wears neither because he knows what it is and he's annoyed by it.
So he's not going to wear this thing either.
So does it have to, could it just be a thing in the corner of every room? I mean, that's the devious. I mean, I have devices all around my house that are coffee cans. I bought them because they're speakers, but they also have microphones on them.
So like an Alexa,
Yeah, I try not
Google
to
Echo,
say it 'cause
whatever.
it starts talking to me in the background.
Yeah.
In my kitchen.
I'm in the other room, so I can say it here.
But it would know the difference between who these people are.
But so you look at that. I'm sorry, guys. I'm on Wi-Fi now. You also have like GPS tracker, right? So if your aging parent wanders off, you can find them. Dave said, well, will they wear it? I mean, there are rings that they don't even have to know. So then you get into autonomy, privacy. Like I know in skilled nursing, I've spent very little time there, but there were laws against like restraints. You couldn't put a lap pillow on. You couldn't put a bed rail up. There were certain things you couldn't do. But now if we're talking about our family member, not a caregiver treating someone, like if I can get a ring that hears everything, sees everything, can communicate, and has tracking functionality, has fall detection. I mean, we're entering a whole new space. And I don't know of any therapists who are kind of have claimed that space, who have said, hey, I am the one. I'm going to go do the research. I'm going to try all the technology. I'm going to create my digital footprint specifically on the newest technology, whether it be an Apple Watch or a ring or whatever. And I'm going to make this accessible to the mass community. I think it's huge. And I think the AI implementation allows that device to be smart enough to probably communicate to the individual, ask the right questions, say the right things that de-escalates the agitation the same way a human could.
What are the things you would see it interacting back, like asking questions and prompting or helping? The thing I'm looking at with aphasia, it would start to understand the irregular patterns that I sort of understand my dad, but other people who only interact with him randomly, like people around where he lives sort of understand his demeanor and he can sort of fudge his way through things. I understand what he's doing because I've heard him enough over time. And I feel like that might be where AI would come in. Is like they understand sometimes he jumbles nouns, but he's mostly close. So when in this context, he's not saying truck, he means chair.
So here's maybe part of my bone to pick with this type of a company. There are so many use cases that we're talking about off the cuff right now in healthcare that maybe families will pay for. I mean, insurance is probably not going to pay for it. You know, hospitals may or may not want to pay for it. SNFs may or may not want to pay for it. But families, let's say families arguably could pay for this type of thing and want to pay for this type of thing. But instead, we got very smart people that probably went to great schools that are engineers, and they're making something that Jimmy, to quote Jimmy from a few minutes ago, to serve the type of people that are having AI girlfriends. Like, it's so ridiculous. We got smart people working on crappy, stupid problems.
Maybe it's the low hanging fruit. Before you let it in with your loved one, you're gonna you're gonna play around. You're gonna be some dude playing around with it in his basement, right? In his mom's basement. Maybe that's the way to make it feel safe and normal, right? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I'd jump to the most intimate and marginalized people, like the most defenseless people. Maybe I'd start with.
That's where the most impact or demand could be, and people that want to pay for it.
But it's
What 20 or 30-year-old is going to pay for this? They're going to sell the data. They're going to have advertisements. No one's going to pay for this pendant. No one's going to pay for friend.com. I went on it. I started chatting. I'm not going to pay for friend.com. I will pay $20 a month for ChatGPT because it helps me with business stuff and
right.
efficiency.
Well,
but if
but
you're paying, if you are even consider,
you don't
I
have
don't
the
have
lonely problem.
right.
Like, I
Listen,
remember-
if you do, you probably need a therapist. You don't need friend.com.
Right. But
Friend
I
computer there?
remember Match.com, and Match.com. This was like when I was like 20 something, and my cousin used, he got a whatever level account he got, and he went on 3 dates, and he married the third girl, and she was a doctor, and my whole family was ready to like push all their chips in the middle and invest in Match.com. And then everybody looks at me because I was the next cousin in line who wasn't married yet, and they were like, you need to be on Match.com. This is where things happened. So they needed those success stories is what I'm talking about. So maybe this is the simpler version of getting some success stories or something like that. Because I could easily see a company who's good at friend moving to companion.
Now, I don't know if you guys heard in the news, and I can't remember the country. There's a country right now that elected an AI as their political governing body. I don't know if it would be the equivalent to like a congressperson or a senator. I was listening to the full story. So, and this has been a common thread in multiple interviews. There are countries where corruption and abuse are just rampant. It's deep inside the culture of the country. So they have said, you elect an AI character who, and in this case, it was a female AI character who's going to be part of the governing body. They are not influenced by corruption. They have no, you can't bribe them. They can make clear, objective decisions about what's best for the people. Now, to me, I would say, well, how do we know the person who's influencing the AI isn't corrupt? And like, it can still be corrupt. But anyway, the argument is they're totally non-biased. They're going to make the best decision for the country. There's individual stories from Japan. I believe my understanding is there's a lot of men in Japan that are not married. They're single. They have no community, no connection. And they're building these relationships with AI avatars right now, like it exists. So I would say the proof of concept is there. There's zero doubt. And who is it? Mike Rowe. Mike Rowe says there's 7 million adult able-bodied men in this country right now who have zero interest in finding a job. They're happy to live in the basement. They claim to spend 2,000 hours a year on screen time, whether it be video games or computers or whatever. Like, these are individuals that need a connection. AI is going to provide that connection for them. They're not going to be rejected. They're not going to be belittled. They're not going to be told that they're, bad because of any characteristic. Man, it is a slippery slope going down that road.
The thing is, Dave, and here's the one thing that someone instructed me. Understanding, this is going to sound really elitist, so if I'm prefacing it.
Bring it, baby.
How dumb the average person is, or how lonely the average person is, or how anything the average person is, because what you think is your average could be skewed hard one way to the left or the right of the middle of that bell curve. So like how lonely someone is, you have a network, you play baseball, you're married, you've got coworkers, you've got friends. Some people don't. And when those people are drowning, if you give them a little bit of a life raft, they'll grab it.
Yeah. 2,000 hours of screen time reported per year over 365 days is almost 5.5 hours of screen time a day. Now, unless you're working in an office, unless you're working in an office job, this is probably hours outside of work hours, right? Or if they're not working.
No,
it's probably
these are guys that are not working. They're not employed. They're not seeking employment. They're able.
So it's probably more than 5 hours a day. It's probably more than 5.5.
It's a full-time job. Like a full-time 40-hour-a-week job would be 2,000 some hours a year. These guys are spending the equivalent of that on a screen, but not doing anything productive.
Oof.
7 million. So then you say, okay, how can physical therapists, how can we connect with this massive population that, in my opinion, has no purpose? They have no drive. They have no interest. Like, there's nothing that's really excited them. Can we as physical therapists come into that world and really create something that is going to motivate and drive these men to do something with that time, to do something productive, to make it worthwhile, to find whatever their purpose may be, whether it's helping others or contributing to the society or whatever. Again, I just think these are opportunities.
7 million of 330 million US residents is 2%. 7 million sounds like a lot, but when you do percentage wise, 2%, all right. Yeah. I mean, makes sense. I could see that.
All right. What other topics do we have?
We did the wedding thing. We did the friend.com thing. Wasn't there something else that you posted recently, Tony, the other day?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Tom Brady is joining that robotic massage table company that we talked about not long ago. What is the name of that thing again?
Wasn't it like Escape, but it was spelled weird? It was like Escape. Escape. I would like to escape to a robot massage.
Right. So it looks like he's joining it is Let's Escape. He's joining as Chief Innovation Officer. And I got to be honest, the photo that they're using, let me see if I can get this on screen. Tom Brady, I can say this attractive man, right? This looks like they AI'd Tom Brady. Like this is not a better version of Tom Brady. Like this is the worst version of Tom Brady. Like this looked like a guy who kind of looked like Tom Brady and then got 7 surgeries to look more like Tom Brady, but looks like a crappy type. This is Tom Brady with aftermarket parts. Not the best look. So anyway, he's joining as Chief Innovation Officer. And let's be very clear. Bringing elite recovery protocols developed over decades to our technology. Okay. I mean, I get it. Tom Brady is known for his like TB12. Like everybody's looking at him going, how do I play as good as this guy does for as long as he did? He is off the charts on longevity and skill and all that. So I get what this company is trying to do. They're trying to piggyback on it. I don't know how much Tom invented in these protocols and how much it was people around him, but he was definitely somebody who followed up on them. So I see what they're doing here. Does this make you want to order one? If Tom Brady's like, I had this robot massage my face for 2 weeks and now I look like this, I'd say not a great move. But does this hurt or help the company? I don't know. It's got its press because no one else is going to report on it unless it's unless it's someone like Tom Brady or someone famous. But in a week, are you going to care? Is my question.
No, and how much is he actually going to participate in this?
Right,
Let's be honest. I mean, he's doing the I forget which channel, but he's doing the commentating on sports on football, and he's in the booth doing the play-by-play now, and he's on the field before the games and after the games, and plus he owns some part of the Raiders apparently. But when he's doing the reporting and the play-by-play, he goes early. He's traveling. He interviews players. He's still doing game footage and tape, and he's still reviewing that so that he can sound better with the play-by-play. that whole thing is a full-time job for anyone that's doing play-by-play anywhere, whether it's Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, Chris Collinsworth, whoever it is, all those guys and gals that are doing the play-by-plays or even the sideline reporting. That is a full-time job. Respectfully, I don't know what Tom is going to bring to the role of chief innovation officer when he's had a history of, I don't know what innovation. So for me, it's just, what do you call it? Like the, name and lights kind of thing.
it's a
It's
splash.
not going to be, yeah, it's just name in the lights. I don't understand how this is going to help, other than maybe gets this company a little bit more exposure in terms of this, and it gets a little bit more media coverage just because Tom Brady is a part of it, and they're almost like, here, we're gonna just, like when people give talks at a college graduation, and you give them the what's it called? You give them like
Emeritus,
the
honorary degree.
emeritus honorary doctorate or whatever, but you did no work for it. This is exactly the same thing.
I just don't understand. Like, he's clearly wealthy enough. He's clearly busy enough. Why even put something else on the plate? I mean,
Money.
What's that?
Money.
How much more money can there be? Like, everybody, my understanding, everybody universally says and I'm happy for people to make as much as they want. But once you make a certain level, like, we know it's destructive to second and third generations. We know that it doesn't bring any additional value. I love capitalism. I'm never going to not love it. I love achievement. I love success. Now I could see that. I could see he is a competitor at heart. He's been a winner his entire life. Even when he loses, he wins. Like, that internal drive for me, money in the bank account is just points on the scoreboard, but I also feel like there's a point where, like, doesn't matter if I beat this other team by 120 or 1,020, like, I beat them. I won the money game.
The problem is there is a clock in every football game, and in life, the clock is how long you live. So I'm going to keep running up the score because these guys are probably asking, can I use your name, image, and likeness?
Yeah.
And then what do I have to do? We have to use your picture. We're going to do a press release. We're going to give you a robot, clearly. We're going to give you equity. We're going to pay you. So if this blows up, you're tied to success. So essentially, shake a couple hands, kiss a couple babies, and then we pay you. This is mailbox money for Tom Brady. That's why. I mean, I would love to say it was because he thinks this is going to revolutionize the world. But I think, aftermarket part Tom Brady is just looking for the paycheck. And I mean, it'd be hard to blame him. This is 1/1,000,000th of his time in a year at a chance of lottery ticket, like guaranteed payment. He's definitely getting something up front, and then equity. So it's like lottery tickets for free lottery tickets and a bag filled with money, several bags.
It reminds me too of like the Shaquille O'Neal. Like, he's selling car insurance, he's selling Papa John's. Of course he has, which I'm sure Tom Brady has, like, equity in the company. Right. Shaq has equity in all of these companies.
Correct.
It just, at some point, it becomes funny.
Shaq was taught early that football money and basketball money, correct me if I'm wrong, are vastly different, right? It's like, especially Tom Brady money. So I think Shaq made a lot of money. Like, Shaq is never going to have to eat or have a problem eating. He's going to eat a lot. Let's be clear. He's going to have a problem paying for food. But the problem there is, I think he was investing early, because I think a lot of those guys, there's like stories I've seen 30 for 30s where, like, these guys are like, I made $90 million. And how much money do you have now? Was it T.O.? Some wide receiver I just saw, maybe I don't think it was T.O. Somebody is like bankrupt. Like, he was trying to buy into a Arena League 2 football team at some point. I believe it was Albany, and it went belly up because he just blew all this money. So I think Shaq was smart enough to invest in things to have things come back. I mean, this might be PR, but, like, in my opinion, Shaq also has a heart too. Whether the story is completely BS or not, it's still a good story. Shaq was, I don't know, in a Walmart or some store and saw a mom, and she gave him crap about sneakers or something that he had his name on. She's like, I can't afford those. Like, I can't afford those. So he made a deal where he, like, sells his shoes for like $30. Antonio Brown, that's who I was thinking of. He sells his sneakers for something pretty reasonable, and he's like, I'd rather sell 1 million pairs and make $1 than, 10,000 pairs and make $10 million. So he sort of is like, I mean, he's also got FU money too, where he could do that. Somebody else did like a shoe deal where it was like a lesser brand because they were like, I'd rather have a bunch of kids who could afford it.
I'm gonna look it up right now. Starberry.
Stefan Marbury.
Where the shoe? Stefan Marbury, and he made shoes, and he's from nearby where I'm at right now. He's from Coney Island, Brooklyn, New York. Was in the NBA. He's I don't know if he's still playing, but he was playing, I think, in Japan or China, somewhere overseas, and he was like mega popular. I mean, he was like Kobe Bryant popular over there. So he was playing over there. But yeah, he launched the shoe company, and it was very inexpensive compared to like the $180, $200 Jordans. And I don't have time to look it up. I'll try to look it up as we're talking. But
that's the story.
Long story short is it's a great mission. It was a great thought and a great execution. And he made shoes and all that, different colors, different models, all that. But I'm pretty sure that the brand floundered. I think that they didn't do great over multiple years because people, payers, consumers, spenders wanted the status of buying Jordans and not buying the $20, $30 Starberries. Crazy, unfortunate. And I'm pretty sure that was like the demise of Starberries.
And Stefan Marbury was a star at the time, but like, he wasn't Jordan and he wasn't Shaq. I mean, he could take me 100 times out of 100 one-on-one. I'm not trying to say he wasn't really a good basketball player. But I don't know if he was that star power, right? And I don't even know how his Shaq shoes, because Shaq was sort of like he's Mount Rushmore material in terms of the NBA. I'm not sure how well those, I don't have the data, but I still like the story. And again, Shaq's like, I don't care if you sell 2 pairs or not, but that mom in Walmart isn't going to berate me again about having shoes that she can't afford that are out of her reach.
So real quick, let's bring this full circle back into the profession. For those who don't know, and we're so deep into the show, it doesn't probably matter. This month, I am running a challenge. It's called the October Media Challenge. I didn't even realize this was a physical therapy month. So,
oh yeah,
I completely forgot about that. So this kind of works out. But there are still a ridiculous number of companies out there, product companies out there that are looking for the face of a product. And it can be a product that you genuinely like, support, endorse, you like. I'm in talks. I can't say the product and I can't say much, but I was, contacted by 2 founders of company on LinkedIn. The company says they've done 20 million in revenue. These are just guys that come up with ideas. They see a gap in the market. They develop the product. They sell it through Amazon primarily. And they're like, hey, we want professional input. The products out on the market right now are good, but they can be better. We want you to come on board. We're going to pay you a consultation fee. Then we'll pay you a whatever fee for being the face of the product. We want to rent your licensure. We want to rent your community so that we can develop a great product with you and promote that product to your community. And this still goes back to, I don't have hundreds of millions of subscribers and followers. And like, I'm in that middle tier right now. And even I can get approached by individuals who are like, we need your expertise. We want to build something great. We have the distribution, we have the manufacturing, but we don't have the knowledge, And so I think any of us out there. So the reason why I started the October challenge was because I was like, look, you guys want to put media out. Dave wants to put media out. This will be a little fun thing to do for 30 days. I'll put out prompts every day. And you guys just kind of come along and I'll show you what I'm doing. I'll show you how I'm doing it. I'll show you the workflows and everything you need to know. So we got a lot of interest. We got a bunch of people that jumped on a free Zoom live yesterday. A bunch of people that are using a hashtag to kind of connect everything. If you guys want to learn more, just reach out to me, message me. But I think it's going well. Shake weight.
Confirm, but
shake
just with
weight,
hand motion,
David.
Is
shake weight, body blade. there are so many of these, one-off products that blew up to crazy numbers. That's hilarious. Have you seen, was it South Park that did a shake weight spoof?
Yeah, they got spoofed on SNL, South Park. I mean, you had to know going in that part of that was going to get lambasted, but that's free press. Because again, every time you think that no one can fall for it or buy it or want it, there's millions of people who might. There's some who will. And the difference is, can you get it in front of them often enough, clear enough when they're open to buying it? If the answer is, distribution, the answer is yes.
All right, let's hit parting shots. I want to kick it off. I think the main thing is, stories resonate. Stories resonate. People want to hear stories. People want to connect. We see people who are willing to pay to go to somebody else's. We said wedding. Really, it's the reception. Nobody cares about the wedding part. They want to go to the party. They want to go to the reception.
Of course.
We see people that are using AI to really get the affirmation and the connection, like it. But our greatest superpower as physical therapists is our ability to connect and our ability to communicate. We are the AI pendant 10 times over. We just need to be able to productize and capture that value. Dave.
Parting shots. If possible, less screens. Whether it's, I know it's against Tony's, video promotion, and even you guys watching or listening to us right now, that means you're on a smartphone or you're in front of a laptop. Recently, I started working out in my garage gym with my old legendary iPod. An iPod. I left my phone up here, and it's like I'm working out, and as I'm working out, I'm listening to music, and there's like, oh, I got to text this person. I got to email this person. I got to email, and it's like 5-10 things come into my head. And usually I would just go right to my phone as I'm working out, and I would do the thing. I got to send this email, do this thing. I thought of an idea. I got to send it to you guys for the next show in the chat. It's just like less screens could potentially be a good thing. Just throwing it out there.
Real quick, Gary Vee actually came out recently, and he's been saying 2026, we're going to see people disconnect. They're going to get off devices. That brick tool or device, I mean, that became super popular, going to dumb phones instead of smartphones. Dave is on the trend.
So my son is only 18 months old, but in the future, whenever he gets his first phone, he's going to get like a Motorola flip phone. He's going to get a phone that does not have internet, no apps, no big screen. You could text, like, you remember the T9, the texting, you had to go to like type out every letter, to type out every letter. And it took forever to send a text message unless you got good at it over the years. But the dumb phone is the future. Consider it for your kids out there.
I'm actually warming up on this wedding idea. I think if you twist it, and it could be a wedding to you, but it could just be a dope party to someone else, right? If you want other people to pay for your party, make your party badass. And if you're already investing in a party, so change the wedding to party, but who's it a wedding to, right? It's a wedding to you, but it's just a dope, like you said, we skip the church and we go to the party. That's the wedding. No, it's not. You're really just selling access to a dope party. People pay for that every single day. Suddenly it's a twist. We've been saying that things are old. What's old is new again. You just talked about the iPod. We talk about bell bottoms all the time because they're notoriously out of fashion, then in fashion, then out of fashion. It's a pendulum. Things go really hard one way and they come back. So when you're talking about digital and screens and people being overwhelmed with it, people are already betting big. People like Gary Vee, as you mentioned, are saying it's the in-person event. It's the analog versus digital. If you were going to create something now or for then, now would be the time to start that thing moving. So when people are demanding for analog and in-person, escape rooms were big, right? For a hot second. There's an escape room on my TV. It's a PlayStation. I can get to this virtual environment. So why were escape rooms really hot? Now there's some issues with escape room, but I think the underlying draw to escape room was it was analog. It was in person. It was immersive, but real. It was real. So if you can create something that's real, you got yourself a shot. And I think we do that as physical therapists. So that is my parting shot, which is skate to where the puck isn't just yet. I think it's in person in 2026. Gentlemen, we'll see you guys. Have a great weekend.
Yeah.
Have a great PT month until I just didn't realize that it was PT month. And we'll see you guys next week. See ya.
See ya.